Okay, so I just started season 4, episode 1, The Hour of the Wolf. So that I don't know, it was just really good. Just everything. Flawless perfection. Wow. So, okay, basically it's set like a week later from the end of season 3, and you know, it's like, what? I'm not going to summarize it. Why should I? I liked everything. I don't know what I'm supposed to say. Like, I'm creeped out by this Kosh 2, I guess. Like, something might be up with him. I'm not sure I trust him exactly. I really am creeped out by the way that he uses Lita, who I'm liking suddenly. I mean, not that I ever really disliked her, but I don't know. I guess she was just in this episode more, and her willingness to help try and find Sheridan, even if they ultimately failed. And of course, Sheridan is alive. That's revealed at the end of the episode. Yay! But I mean, I figured he was. I really like this alien guy who's sharing his fire with him. Why am I here? You were born. Like, thanks, helpful. But he's fun. Oh my god, Veer. I don't exactly know when I became Veer's biggest fan, but it happened at some point, and, like, I love this guy so much. And I love that Londo was like, you are the only person I can trust, you're basically the closest thing I have to a friend, and Veer's like, of course I'll help you do insane, you know. And, I was like, what? Oh, I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm incoherent, I'm sorry. Okay, so Emperor Cartagia is insane, although he is so much fun. Oh my goodness. Oh, and this all kind of led to me having a question. Because I guess we're establishing, finally, that this Centauri, stupid thing with the Centauri's hair is obvious. It's some sort of fashion. How did they sleep with their hair like that, though? That's got to be horribly uncomfortable. It looks really, I don't know. Not really the point. So yeah, I just adored Veer in this. Like, everybody was great in this, and poor Ivanova is, like, sad, and I don't want her to be sad. I guess this means she's going to be the commander of the station now, which would be awesome. Because, like, they can't exactly have Earth Force assign them a new one, because they're, like, not really part of it anymore, and complicated. It was just really good. It was really good. And Jakar is gonna go try and find Garibaldi, which, thank you, Jakar, please. I'm worried. And he has this great scene with Zach. I love how Zach just goes into the room and is like, what? And then Jakar's just wearing, Garibaldi's fedora. I was like, yeah. So, that was funny. I was like, that doesn't exactly fit, but you know what? It's a good look on anyone. So, yeah, it was great, and, as usual, I need to see what happens next. So, okay, do I have predictions? I'm going to predict that something is up with Kosh 2, that he's like, I don't know, that he's evil or something, somehow. I don't know, that's basically my description. My prediction, Cartagia. You're such a nut. So there was, oh my god, there was some great Londo stuff in here. Like, he's finally gonna, I mean, okay, yes, he is plotting to kill the Emperor, but still, he's finally doing something positive from a certain perspective. And I'm a fan of that. I want him to make a choice. And oh my god, the part where they're like, oh, come out on the balcony and watch this thing. And he goes outside, and it's the fucking shadow ships coming in, and where he's like, oh no. And you're like, no, it's that moment from, was it a vision or a dream or something? I don't even remember, but where this sort of saw that this was a future possibility. And it's like, no, it's happening. No. So it's cool, and I'm very much excited to see more. Okay. Oh, sorry, that's gross. Yeah. So I just watched episode 2 of season 4, which is called something like Whatever Happened to Mr. Garibaldi, or Where is Mr. Garibaldi, or Where in the World is Mr. Garibaldi? New TV show. Anyway, so yeah, holy crap, this episode, I don't even know I literally don't even know what to say. I just sat there staring at it. This is probably the most intense the show has gotten so far. And it wasn't about planets blowing up or anything, it was just people talking to each other and me freaking out. So, it's been like 2 weeks since the end of season 3. And, well, G'Kar decides that he's going to go try and find Garibaldi, because he considers Garibaldi his friend, and everybody else is sort of fussing about Sheridan, which you can't blame them for, but still. G'Kar's like, I'm going to go look for Garibaldi. So, well, he finds out a couple of things. Basically that somebody sold parts of Garibaldi's Starfire for salvage, but it doesn't really lead anywhere before he gets kidnapped by some what the fuck is coming out of my mouth? By some Centauri. Also Marcus is there for a bit, which was awesome. I really liked Marcus and G'Kar kind of just interacting and maybe forming a friendship of their own eventually. I just wanted Marcus to stick around. If he'd stuck around, but, you know, G'Kar was all like, no, I need to do this on my own, because he's got this single-minded obsession with finding Garibaldi. Meanwhile, on Centauri Prime, the Emperor Crazy Pants has something for Londo. And I bet you can guess what it is, because I guessed what it was going to be. As soon as he said, I have a gift for you. And I was like, fuck. It's fucking G'Kar. And it is. And it's awful. It is literally the worst thing ever. I am not exaggerating. Like, everything is terrible. And then there's a scene where Londo comes to talk to G'Kar in his prison cell, and it's... I just can't. It was like... It was so good, because basically, I guess, they've reached a point where Londo just doesn't even care anymore. So he pretty much just tells G'Kar that this is awful, that he doesn't want this to be happening, and he never really would have wanted it to be happening, even back when they were always at each other's throats. Because he wouldn't want it to happen to anyone, and then he goes into detail as to exactly what sorts of things they will do to G'Kar. They will torture him for a long time, and when they're done, for afters, they'll strap him to a table, cut him open, and start taking out his organs while he's conscious, or at least still alive. What the fuck? First of all, why does Londo know this? Has he seen this been done before? Because, holy crap, you live in a world full of complete sociopaths, dude. Jesus. And then, like, oh my god, and everything is horrible. It's just, oh my god. Yeah, and Londo just looks like completely unhappy about everything. And I mean, we've established that Emperor Cartagia is completely insane. But this is kind of like, and now we actually care. Which just really, I guess, adds to the motivation for getting the guy killed. And he says, well, Londo asks G'Kar to help him. And G'Kar is like, alright, I'll help you kill your emperor, but you have to do something for me. Once I help you remove the monster from your throne, remove the monster from my world. And Londo agreed, and I was like... Actually, I was just staring at the screen like, oh my god. And then, as if it wasn't enough, there's a million other really intense things going on here. Like, Delenn has gone a little bit nuts and refused to eat for like a week. And then she ends up watching some personal log of Sheridan's, and it inspires her. Well, basically he tells this little story, or not even a story, but a piece of advice his father used to give him, which was, if you're falling, you might as well try to fly. So, essentially you're fucked. So what's it going to do? How could it possibly worsen your situation? Which ties into the fact that Sheridan is hanging out in the bowels of Zadoom with some weird alien guy who turns out to be alien god or something. He's the first one. Okay, so he was one of those aliens from a gazillion years ago. One of the first ones. Because, creative names. But he doesn't say, because Sheridan's like, holy shit, you're one of the first ones. And he goes, no, I am the first one. And you're like, what? And he reveals to Sheridan that Sheridan is not... Well, it's a little bit... I think it's kind of metaphysical. It's not really literal, but he says that he's between moments. And basically he needs... Whether between the moments of being alive and being dead, he's in this weird liminal place. And he can choose, essentially. And, oh my god, and all these things they say, and he says in the end, all that we have, all that we can do is hope. And it was just really intense. And I was trying to decide if there was some sort of a philosophy that all of it fits in somewhat allegorically, but I'm not really sure because I know much about philosophy. I thought about existentialism, but I've never really understood existentialism because I learned about it in French class, in French. So, I didn't really get it. Whatever. The point is that Sheridan has gone through some kind of crazy sort of spiritual journey. And, and of course... Oh, and Delenn. I guess I didn't finish talking about Delenn. She's actually gonna, bring together the last... the non-aligned worlds has basically just been no, we're not gonna help you anymore because all of this stuff went down. And half of them are, convinced the war is over anyway. But whichever ones will stick with her in the Rangers, she's going to lead them to battle to attack Zadoom. So that's completely bonkers. And Garibaldi, that's the last thing. Garibaldi has been captured by somebody. They're keeping him in a room, and they're asking him what he remembers about the time after the battle. Now, my presumption here is that perhaps he was captured by the Shadows first, or whoever has captured him now suspects that he knows something about the Shadows. And I don't think these people are the Shadows because I'm almost 100% positive that he's been captured by Psychor. And really, I can't give a reasoning for it except for the fact that the guy who walks into the room at the end of the scene, he's got a helmet on, a breathing thing, so you can't see his face. But my brain immediately went, it's Bester. That's who it is. And I realized it's insane. But it was what he was wearing, so I don't know if I'm just completely crazy or if it really actually is Bester. Who knows? But I hope it is, because it's better than being captured by the fucking Shadows. Everything is awful. But my god, is this show good. And I don't know what's going to happen next, and I'm sure it's going to be also good and also really heartrending and insane. And I will have trouble dealing with it. Again. So, oh, do I dare? Who knows? Well, we'll see. So I watched another one today. Episode 3, The Summoning. Well, what the hell where do I even begin? I guess let's begin with the big revelation at the end. That the Vorlons, though they are certainly opposed to the Shadows, consider the war with them of such paramount importance that they will destroy anything and anyone to also defeat the Shadows. Which basically means all of the lesser little races are doomed. I mean, because the Vorlons don't even care. So, I was right. Kosh 2 is fucking up to something, but all the Vorlons are up to something. They've always been creepy in their aloofness, in their enigmaticness. Kosh, at least seemed to give kind of a crap, but maybe he was one of the nice ones. So yeah, we're in trouble. We're in deep trouble. Everybody's in deep trouble. There are no happy endings. Okay, well, I guess there were some happy things that happened in this episode, like Sheridan's back on the station now, so everybody knows he's alive, and Zach was able to go and rescue Garibaldi. I'm not sure if Garibaldi's 100%, because we still don't know what happened to him, so I'm not quite sure if we can trust him. I mean, I think we can trust him, but there might be something else going on that he's unaware of, that we can't trust, if you know what I mean. And Jakar's not dead. Yay. I mean, you know, it wasn't enough for them to be like, let's explain how they'll get disemboweled and it'll be terrible and also torture. We have to watch him get tortured. No, granted, he was just getting hit with a thing. But it was a really intense scene. Oh my god, it was amazing. They were basically just like, Jakar, Emperor Cartagia will kill you if you don't scream once. You have to do that. And he is like, you do not know what you're asking me. And Londo was like, yes, I do. And these two guys, can everything be about them somehow? Holy crap. And like, so the scene where he's being tortured, the idea is he's getting whipped with this thing, and 40 lashes will kill him. He lets him get to 39 before he finally screams. And the whole time, Londo was staring at him. And then by the time they get to like 30, he starts mouthing, do it, at him. Like, come on, scream. And Veer is there for reasons. And he's like, just not having fun. And the Emperor's a crazy, creepy fuckhead who needs to die horribly. Soon. Oh my goodness. Well, I guess, though, that Londo and Veer killing the Emperor might be what leads to Londo becoming Emperor. Because, I don't know. Oh, what else? The Vorlons destroyed a planet with like 7 million people living on it. So, that's happy news. I think they were humans, but I'm not actually sure because they didn't really say, they just said people. So I guess it could really, but it doesn't matter. The point is that they weren't shadows. The shadows had a base on that planet, but the Vorlons destroyed the entire planet to make sure the base was wiped out. Like, wow. Extreme measures. And our little group of allies is like, well, shit, fuck. How are we supposed... It was bad enough when we were just fighting the shadows. How were we supposed to survive this if we're not exactly on the side of the Vorlons either? Which, okay, can I just say how much I love this development, actually? Because it shakes things up from the status quo we've been used to for pretty much the entire series. And it's great because it doesn't say that order or chaos is the way to go. But that, well, see, the thing is that I'm on the side of the little guys, alright? Because, hell, I am one. I'm just a human. And there's this just, in so much fiction, when there are aliens with godlike powers, they have a certain disregard for beings that aren't as powerful as them. Which is understandable, I guess. I mean, I step on ants all the time, not even notice it, you know? But I just really like where this is going, I guess. What else? Oh, there was one other thing I was going to mention. Okay, so Marcus has a new haircut, which he's had this whole season. I just haven't mentioned it before. Which I like, but it also looks kind of like the sort of haircut I wouldn't be surprised to see on a church choir director. Actually, I think my church choir director has basically that same haircut. And that's a little bit weird. She's a woman. Incidentally. What else? Marcus and Ivanova. Okay, I think I probably do ship it. I can't help it. Like, I think I really enjoy their scenes together. I think they have a really good chemistry. And I mean, Marcus obviously likes her a lot. And she's just kind of generally clueless, which is funny, because when he first showed up on the show, he was kind of like hitting on her. And what, has she just forgotten that this was a thing that happened? Yeah, they're sweeties. Oh, and Marcus is apparently a virgin, and I suppose also has just never been in a relationship. So that was amusing. Then Ivanova made a joke about a unicorn, and he was just kind of like, this is my face. And what else? Really, that's it. Like, I love everything about this show. I want to watch another episode, but it's late again. So yeah. Oh, Jesus, I mean, I don't know. I actually see, the thing is that I hope that Vera and Londo's plan comes to fruition soon, because I don't know how many episodes I can take of Jakar being tortured. Because I think maybe only one more. I think I'm reaching my limit really quickly. Like, okay, this is no longer okay. Not that it was ever okay, but please, can we not? Because it's not like you're just watching one character be tortured. It's like you're watching 3 characters be tortured. And that just makes it worse. So yeah. But I'm really glad Sheridan and Garibaldi are back. And now I hope that they can try to find Jakar as kind of their next thing, and hopefully have everything turn out okay. But who knows? Because given what show I'm watching, it's likely that it won't be for a very long time. Okay, hey. Episode 4 of Season 4. Falling toward apotheosis, which I've just looked up because I didn't know what that meant. And it gives me 2 definitions here. The noun. The elevation or exaltation of a person to the rank of a god, or the ideal example, epitome, quintessence. So that's appropriate, I guess, considering Cartagia's madness. Yeah. What happened to this episode? So I watched, like, half of it this morning and the other half this evening, so I'm kind of... But, a lot more unacceptable, horrible things happened everywhere. The Vorlons have destroyed several more planets. And our guys on the station decided they needed to get rid of the Vorlon ambassador. So that was pretty intense. I feel bad for Garibaldi getting left out of the loop. I think Sheridan needs to take 5 seconds to go talk to him and, like, so he doesn't feel like he's avoiding him. Unless he's got some good reason to be avoiding him, but they haven't said. And so it's kind of odd. Londo is still having a terrible time in Centauri. Oh god, the last scene. Okay, well, Londo has some sort of a plan, which involves going to Narn, to take Jakar there and with the Emperor for trial. So I'm not quite sure how this is supposed to save him or his planet, but you know, we're hoping. I'm hoping. So yeah, but then on the last scene, Cartagia decided he doesn't like the way Jakar is looking at him, and you know, and Londo's like, well, I don't know what you should do, but I gotta go pack. So he leaves, and then Cartagia's like, well, pluck out one of his eyes, and I was like, I called it right before he said it. I was like, shit, that's gonna be how he loses his eye, because whenever we see him in the future, he's got this like eye patch on. So that's awful. Everything is terrible for Jakar, really, right now. This situation is just a giant clusterfuck. I don't know, really not that much. Okay, I say not that much happened in this episode, but, like, clearly things did happen, since I just mentioned a bunch of things. And the whole thing with, okay. Here's the thing we learned. We learned from Lorien, whose name looks like it should be pronounced Lorien, because Lord of the Rings, I guess. I think I read somewhere that JMS liked Lord of the Rings. I mean, who the hell doesn't, really? I don't remember what it was in reference to, because it wasn't about Lorien, but it was about something else. Oh, it was about the Rangers, right? And I was like, yeah, I can dig that. Anyway, when he found, basically the point is that he couldn't give Sheridan back his life, but he could prolong it, and basically what he's done is give him the energy with some sort of a bioenergetic field, or don't even ask, happening inside him that's going to keep him alive for about 20 years, and then he's just going to stop. And that's depressing. And so we find out about this because he tells Delenn, because he feels like at least she needs to know. And then he's like, oh, so we should get married because, you know, and I was like, oh my god. Oh, actually, in between being kind of excited about that, I'm also just curious as to how everybody else is going to react. Because as far as I can see in the universe of B5, people generally don't have interspecies relationships. Like, this is literally the only one on the show. Star Trek is full of them. Full to bursting. And nobody gives a shit, right? So you kind of go, well, what about in this universe? Do you think they might think that's kind of weird? I mean, she's like this weird hybrid human, so maybe that's a little bit better, but still, I don't know. I'm sure the questions will be answered. I'm sure all my questions will be answered. Stop repeating things. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about it, I guess. It was less... I mean, several planets got destroyed, and yes, I found this episode less stressful than the last couple, which is probably good, because yesterday was I was just tearing out my hair. So, yeah, I'm moving quickly. It's so nice to be able to move quickly. The end. Okay, episode 5 of season 4, The Long Night. I'm running out of ways to react to this shit. Because the show is so consistently good, it's like, there's nothing to complain about, so all I can do is sit here and talk about how great it was. Is that even interesting? I don't know. Motherfuck. Well, anyway, they finally killed Cartagia. That was some intense shit, because first of all, they were like, supposed to put the chains Jakar was in, replace them with weaker chains, but then the Emperor told Londo that he thought they'd looked weak, so he had them replaced, and so it was like, oh shit, but Jakar broke them anyway, because he's intense, and then Londo was supposed to stab Cartagio, but it didn't work out quite that way, and Veer ended up stabbing him, and it was like the most intense thing in the universe, because I was just sitting there like watching this, and I went, oh no! Oh no! I mean, thank God that fucker's dead, but Veer! Who, of course, like, freaks out about it. And, oh my god, that was probably... See, I kept watching... While I was watching it, I kept thinking, okay, this is probably my favorite scene. And then, like, 10 minutes later, there'd be something else. It'd be like, no, wait, it's this. But... I have, I guess, in the end, 2 favorite scenes. One was the one between Veer and Londo, when Veer is drunk, and Londo is, like... talking to him. And the other one is when Jakar is confronting the Narn, who are tearing up the throne room after the Centauri have left. Oh my god. The show. So it's come to my attention recently that there's some sort of like pilot called The Gathering that I totally missed, which I'm going to have to go back and watch at some point. But I feel like the further along I go, the weirder it's going to be to go back and watch that. Because all the characters are going to be so incredibly different. Especially Londo and Jakar. Like, of all of them, they'd be the most different. Oh, but I loved those 2 scenes. I mean, Jakar just, like, I love the fact that now he's got it. He's got it. He gets it. He can't just keep going back for revenge, you know? They have to stop. Somebody has to break the cycle. And you know, because it was funny, because it was like, oh, they got us off our world, now we can rebuild and stuff, and the guy's just like, now we want revenge, and I was like, no, fuck, you just stop, leave everybody alone for a while. God, and I love the bit where Jakar is just like, no, the Centauri are broken people, you know, basically, like, they deserve our pity, not vengeance. Just, I guess that he's gone through such a transformation of character over the course of this show that now this is the way he sees things. And the slight idea that maybe getting an eye pulled out has somehow increased. Well, he said I see things now that I didn't see before. Which I just started thinking about Odin plucking out his eye so that he can drink from the wisdom well thing. I mean, it's not exactly like that, but whatever. Okay, and then the scene between Londo and Veer. Because Veer, as I don't know how the hell this happened, has become like my favorite character. Oops. So, just, oh, Veer. It was just really intense. It's just like, I don't know. No. Anyway, I want to give him hugs. Londo's Prime Minister of Centauri now, so that's fun, I guess. Whatever that even really means. And meanwhile, back on the station, the Vorlon destroyed more worlds, and the Shadows are destroying worlds too, because they have a way to do it too, and it's just like, holy crap. Sorry, my computer just spazzed. And I don't even know. I have no idea. Well, anyway, so they've decided, well, they figured out what planet the Vorlons are likely to attack next, somehow. Or, like, they're amassing their fleet to attack this planet. I don't really know why they're all going there. It was actually kind of funny, because Lanier's like, here's this math and stuff, and then he keeps getting interrupted in his attempts to actually, like, finish the sentence. And then finally, like 5 minutes later, it's like, that's what I've been trying to tell you. I know which planet it is. It's in the report. Jeez. God. Anyway, and so then there was some intense stuff with a ranger named Erickson, but, like, I didn't really care that much because I don't know him. But, I mean, it was still pretty intense. Oh, and of course, then they had to end the episode by quoting Tennyson. I don't know what poem it was, because I'm not that big up on my poetry. But still, as soon as you start quoting a poet, I'm just like, oh, I'm done. You win. I'll do anything. I will dance for you, show. You know. You can emotionally manipulate me all you want, and I'm not even going to judge you for it. Yeah, the next episode will be this big battle. Okay, the crazy thing is that, honestly, I have no idea how they're supposed to win this, except that probably Ivanova is going to come swooping in with some first ones to help, and that'll turn the tide, but, I mean, really, this is a show about people fighting a war they can't possibly win on their own merits, like, or at least on their own strength. But yeah, some crazy stuff. And frankly, this is going to sound dumb, but what I really want to happen is I want all the characters, namely Londo, Veer, and Jakar, who've been like running around having their own plot, to come back to V5. I'm like, but you have to. That's where the show is set. So, I don't know. It's one of those things. So, who knows who will even become emperor next. So, but I really hope, that at some point, Londo has made a decision that has been able to keep him from utter ruin and terribleness. And remember, at some point there was an episode where somebody was like, you had these certain chances to turn aside from this doom. So I hope he has, and I hope that, well, I really hope that Sheridan dying, on Zadoom meant a change in this universe, so that you didn't have to have the depressing ending that that was going to happen in the future episode we saw. But I think it's probably time for me to be quiet now. And then I guess try to spend the rest of the day resisting just watching the next episode, or maybe I will not resist. Okay, who knows? It's so good. So yeah. In conclusion, they're all fucked. The end.